The world is facing so many environmental challenges right now. You might see some of them on your very own doorstep, like trash. But you might not be aware of others, like biodiversity loss. And if you don't know what the problems are, you can't fix them. Welcome to Eco Africa. We will be showing you not only the crisis our planet faces, but the ways to solve them. I'm Alama Mukonde in Lusaka, Zambia.
And a warm welcome from me too. Here's what we've got coming up.
In Uganda, former poachers are now protecting mountain gorillas. Solar power is helping save babies' lives in Cameroon. And conserving albatrosses in South Africa.
Here on the show, our mission is to turn the spotlight on the causes and the impact of the climate crisis. But across the world, these issues don't always get the media attention they deserve. We head now to Ghana. Plastic waste, illegal mining, disappearing forests. The country's environment is under pressure. Now, a new generation of reporters is stepping up to investigate. And their work isn't just about making headlines. It shows that when environmental reports or stories are told well, they can drive real change.
It's an exciting encounter for both sides, elephant and human.
Wow.
Ghana's elephant population has plummeted since the 1970s, from around 30,000 to about just 1,000. 30-year-old Jakpa Kojo Abubakar is a budding environmental journalist. He's here in the Mole National Park to report on how Ghana's remaining elephants are being protected before it's too late.
So it's important to preserve those animals. So making documentaries usually, as I am on today, is to send a message outside that there's the need for us to conserve, and otherwise we lose everything and future generation would come and finding out what is an elephant, what is a monkey, they've not seen it before.
Joining him is intern Andalatu from Jakpa's home village. She wants to learn from him how to tackle environmental issues. The park ranger also hopes Jakpa's report will raise awareness.
People in the nearby communities or the surrounding villages, they don't take biodiversity very so serious. They don't take it serious. So when they come to talk about it, I am happy because it is an education that goes to the communities and the people, and that will show them the importance of biodiversity and keeping the environment for future generations.
In Ghana's capital, Accra, the Center for Sustainable Transformation runs a program called Young Reporters for the Environment. It trains young people who want to shine a light on environmental issues. But it's not just about learning how to be a journalist.
The aspiration for everyone who comes through the program is that you acquire the knowledge and skills, and also the agency to hold stakeholders, policymakers accountable. And not just that, the ability to be able to contribute to national conversations on sustainability.
Ghana urgently needs environmental reporting. Endangered species, plastic pollution, deforestation. The challenges in Ghana are immense. 37-year-old Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin is an award-winning environmental journalist. Today, he's reporting on Mary Bampo, a cocoa farmer from the Tiwa area in eastern Ghana. Through the Red Plus Climate program, she earns money from planting extra trees among her cocoa crops. These trees absorb CO2, improve the microclimate, and protect the cocoa from heat stress. Her harvest has quadrupled.
It improves the air around us and it supports the growth of the cocoa trees. You can already see the impact in my farm. Many people, especially women in my community, are encouraged by what they see in my farm.
Mahmoud believes it's important to report on projects that reward environmentally friendly behavior, like here in the northern village of Uwagu, where the forest is considered sacred. Women receive medicinal herbs as a reward for not cutting down trees. A simple appeal for more environmental awareness often isn't enough.
The challenge is that some people don't really care about the environment when you are educating them, telling them that the practices they are embarking on is affecting the environment. And so it's become difficult for people to change. You keep on telling the stories and they wouldn't want to change because they are gaining. They think they are gaining from whatever practices they are doing.
Coordinating with the cameraman, Manasseh Safu Nyamiche is just starting out in eco reporting and is passionate about making a difference. The 23-year-old is reporting from a neighborhood in Accra next to a notorious plastic and textile landfill.
This is a community that are living by these landfills. At the end of the day, they are going to bring in these toxic gases. So as a filmmaker, what I can do is also report on the environment so that people will also get to see the kind of environmental situations or environmental health impacts that we are facing as a problem so that we can act upon it.
Back to Mahmoud Nuruddin. As a freelance eco-journalist, he is constantly on the move. Today, he's stopping by his grandfather's house in Kumasi. His nephews and niece are also there. At a friend's place nearby, there is a room he can use to edit his cocoa story for a Ghanaian news channel. Journalism alone can't support his family of 3. So as a trained agricultural scientist, he also works as a farming consultant. But eco-journalism is where his heart belongs, and his family understands that.
They don't really complain about it because it's all about changing, making impact. And so if you are making impact, it's good.
His biggest impact came when he uncovered the cause of illness in the village. The drinking water was coming from a pond contaminated with animal feces. After his report, an NGO installed a filtration system.
And so sometimes I watched the story and I was like, did I do this story? I was so excited that I did that story.
Back in Mole National Park, Jakpa and his intern, Andalatu, wrap up filming. Now it's time to review the footage and decide which shots are the best shots for his newly launched blog. Because without an audience, even the most urgent report won't make a difference. So I just finished filming this story, and I must say that it was very interesting telling the story about my colleague journalists, seeing their passion that they bring to bear in telling these stories. And one thing that stood out for me really was that their work is impacting communities. And I was impressed also to see that local communities are now adopting indigenous solutions that are working.
Next, we head to Uganda. The country is home to more than half of the world's mountain gorilla population. Over the years, however, these gentle giants were threatened with extinction by disease, deforestation, and poaching. The communities in and around the national parks where they live were their worst enemies. But guess what? Not anymore.
This mountain gorilla lives in Bwindi National Park in Uganda. It's one of only 2 places in the world where the species is found. Just a few decades ago, it was on the brink of extinction due in part to illegal hunting. This man used to be a hunter who killed game and gorillas until he realized this was wrong, and he joined a group of reformed poachers dedicated to preservation of these endangered creatures, coexistence, and improving livelihoods.
As reformed poachers, we take care of this park because it provides an income. Our people get employment and we benefit financially. Visitors and tourists come to the park, and the country gets an income. And thanks to revenue sharing, our children can go to school, and we have hospitals and improved road infrastructure. That's how we benefit, compared to when I was a poacher.
Bwindi National Park and the surrounding region are home to many protected plants and animals, threatened not just by poaching, but also habitat loss and disease. Awareness-raising projects among local communities are key to conservation efforts. Their participation has helped stabilize the gorilla population. This year, a census is underway. Peter Tumwesije joins park rangers to count the gorillas in Bwindi National Park. As a former poacher, Peter knows the area like the back of his hand. The group carefully follow the tracks of the gentle giants. And here they find some. A band of gorillas enjoying a snack. They don't seem bothered by being watched, not even by someone who used to hunt them. Before becoming a gorilla guardian, Peter Tumwesije, like many others, used to hunt using snares like this. While others poached gorillas deliberately for rituals or illegal trade, he trapped game in order to provide food for his family, like antelopes, bush pigs, and forest hogs. But the trap doesn't choose what it catches. When we set traps to catch edible animals, we would sometimes trap other non-edible animals such as foxes, chimpanzees, or even gorillas by accident. I would find them in the traps, but this was not intentional. The region around the national park has also benefited from tourism. It has helped fund several conservation and development projects. A revenue sharing scheme ensures that 20% of tourism revenue in the national park goes directly into community projects, providing locals with a sustainable livelihood. Meanwhile, the mountain gorilla census continues in the forest. The final number won't be based on sightings alone, but also with the help of DNA analysis. Fecal samples from nests provide information about the number and relationship of the mountain gorilla troops in the park. The results of the Great Ape Census will be published in 2026. In the meantime, the rangers and conservationists in and around Bwindi National Park keep up their work to ensure that humans and apes can continue to live side by side in harmony.
We go now to Cameroon, where a power outage is nothing unusual. In some hospitals, a sudden blackout can be a matter of life and death, especially for the tiniest patients. In our latest Doing Your Bit, we see how innovation and determination are improving newborn care and offering hope for families.
Little Nachma was born 3 months premature. She owes her life to this incubator. It creates a microclimate in which humidity and temperature are regulated. Her body has everything it needs to grow, just like in the womb. The fact that incubators function non-stop at this hospital in the town of Fumbo is not a given. Here in Cameroon, power outages are common. Before we got these hybrid incubators, we used imported ones. But they were too sensitive to power cuts. The incubators are built locally in Cameroon. They can run on solar-powered batteries and mains electricity. The idea came from entrepreneur Serge Djidju. He witnessed firsthand how a mother lost 5 babies because of a power outage. The tragedy spurred him into action. We knew that for a viable solution for us here, we needed to use renewable energy, which is cheap and reliable. So we opted for solar power and built a hybrid incubator that can function fully, even in remote places or places with no reliable power supply, thus saving lives. The locally made incubators are also creating long-term jobs. Production of the Mawao incubators started in Yaoundé 2 years ago. The models have proven effective and more than 200 have sold so far. They're also boosting the use of solar power. The hospital in Fumbo, for example, now operates 3 wards with solar power, one of which is the maternity ward. The incubators were financed by an NGO. They cost the equivalent of around €4,500. That's a lot of money, but nothing compared to the many lives that have been saved. Nahma is also coming on well. She's already breastfeeding, a huge relief for her mother. When I see my child so healthy and how she's developed so wonderfully compared to the first day I saw her, I'm really proud. It's a big change. And what better reward for the nurses and the incubator's inventors too.
Here in Lagos, we're near the coast and seabirds are a common sight. But their populations are under threat from habitat loss, pollution, disease and the warming oceans. It's a problem not just here. We head north to Norway in Europe and a remote region in the country where a local fisherman has come up with a new way of giving seagulls a better chance of surviving.
Welcome to the Seagull Hotel in Vardø. There's no room service and only self-check-in, but the accommodation is a popular choice among seagulls and other seabirds.
It's been there for 3 years now. The first year there was 55 nests. Last year it was 74, and this year we have 76.
Fisherman Jan Vidar Hansen built the hotel so seabirds could nest safely. For puffins and other birds, the cliffs in Norway's easternmost town of Vardø used to be a haven. But nowadays, seabirds here are under siege from climate change, predators and disease.
70 to 90% of the seabirds is gone during the last 30 years. Lack of food, during the bird flu, that's been pretty hard the last 3 years there.
Vardø is known for its birding tourism. A short boat ride away lies Hornøya Island. Thousands of birdwatchers flock to this uninhabited spot, which is home to 100,000 seabirds during breeding season. But the island's seabird population has also declined dramatically. Food has become scarce due to overfishing and rising water temperatures in the Barents Sea. Fish that need colder water are being pushed further north, and the migrating pattern of other species have been disturbed.
It's a bit scary to see that I was seeing birds that usually eat fish on the tundra, that they start eating berries because they don't have their normal food.
Tourism can also have a negative impact. Visitors can cause the birds stress, disturbing them when they're nesting. But closing the island to bird lovers is not really an option. It would have a huge impact on Vardø's economy.
Every small business in the town, it's depending on the tourists to come and visit the island and stay in the town and shop and use the gas station and use the small restaurants.
And some smaller gull species have actually moved closer to people in search of protection from non-human predators, like the guests in this bird hotel.
Back to Africa now, and another threat facing seabirds. Now, in South Africa, over 10,000 of them used to be killed as bycatch in commercial fishery. A disaster, because Seabirds like albatrosses help maintain the balance of both marine and coastal ecosystems. But thanks to simple but effective methods, there has been a huge reduction in these deaths in recent years.
A newborn albatross on Marion Island, 2,000 kilometres southeast of the South African coast. Albatrosses often only have one chick at a time and care for it devotedly, sometimes for over a year. Once finally mature, the young bird will head for the waters off South Africa where there are abundance of fish. But in that search for food, they're up against some daunting and dangerous competition. Trawlers, which tow their gigantic nets via steel cables called warp lines. Incoming birds eager to catch some fish sometimes fly into the cables and can even drown from their subsequent injuries. A silent tragedy that only properly came to light around the turn of the millennium.
It was only once we started doing dedicated observations or putting cameras over the warps that you can see this happening. So it's not a huge number every trawl, but it's enough that over all the trawling effort, we were seeing thousands of albatrosses being killed every year by these warp strikes.
In South Africa alone, up to 14,000 albatrosses perish every year, part of a global disaster that costs the lives of over 700,000 seabirds annually. The simple-looking solution, bird scaring lines. Suspended between the lethal steel cables, the yellow hose pipes and streamers form a visual barrier that deters birds from entering the danger zone. The idea dates back to the 1970s, but has been adapted to use with trawlers by the Albatross Task Force of NGO BirdLife South Africa.
We were able to reduce the mortality of albatrosses by an incredible 99%. There is nowhere in the earth that this has happened. It was the first example of a conservation success of this magnitude.
Although that success didn't happen overnight, the albatross guardians tested the technique at sea while winning over trawler crews, and finally managing to get bird scaring lines made mandatory in South Africa in 2006. The lines are cut to size and assembled here by people who have disabilities, but no shortage of skill and dedication. Over 1,000 have been made since the launch of a special social project covering the demand for 60% of South Africa's deep-sea trawlers. For many of them, a first step towards meaningful work, giving them a renewed sense of purpose.
For the members, it's been great. They've learned so much, and they actually feel that what they're doing is contributing towards saving the sea life for future generations. It also gives them an incentive. You find that the members actually have money to take home, so it enhances their capacity in their families.
But while bird scaring lines are mandatory, they're not always used. A situation that fisheries expert Sihle Nkongo wanted to set straight. He invented a sensor that detects when the nets are deployed. Encased in a weatherproof shell, it measures the tension in the main pipe that the likewise yellow streamers are suspended from. That data is transmitted in real time, revealing whether or not the deterrent lines were actually deployed. A win on the conservation front, and for fisheries that want to prove their eco-friendly credentials to be awarded globally recognised sustainability certification.
It's on a vessel's best interest to ensure that they can confirm that the vessels have been compliant with deploying the bird scaring lines. So the device comes very handy to the companies as well.
We require that evidence for our Marine Stewardship Council certification, and the standard is in future going to require that we actually provide that evidence.
These yellow-coloured lifelines are also mandatory in the likes of Namibia, Argentina and Chile, but on the global scale, protection is still insufficient.
At the moment, the count is 700,000 seabirds are dying as a result of seabird bycatch annually. If we can collaborate through collaborations and work collectively to achieve every single vessel to get every single vessel to use mitigation measures, we will have done our work.
Albatrosses off the coast of South Africa are now much better protected. But worldwide, more than half of the 22 species of the bird are still endangered.
I can't imagine a world without seabirds. Let's hope the protection work takes off in other parts of the world too. That's it on Eco Africa First Time. Don't hesitate to get in touch and let us know what you think about our stories at eco@dw.com. I am Chris Olems. Goodbye from me in Lagos, Nigeria.
And goodbye from me too, Malama Mukonde in Lusaka, Zambia. Now don't forget to check out our social media channels. Well, this is where we say our goodbyes, so see you next time.